Welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Let's get some more analysis on yesterday's spring economic update. Of course, there was a reduction in the deficit. I do need to point out that was not by design. They kind of stumbled their way into that deficit reduction thanks to the war between the U.S. and Iran, which has led to a skyrocketing of oil prices and, of course, government benefiting from the increase in tax revenue on that front. Let's take a look at some other facets of this spring economic update and perhaps what wasn't there. Measures to alleviate red tape. The Montreal Chamber of Commerce, unhappy about that. Let's talk a little bit more with Isabelle Dessureault, who is the president of the Montreal Chamber of Commerce. Madame Dessureault, welcome back to the program.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Mikos.
Okay, red tape. You wanted something in the economic update to help businesses with red tape. Well, why don't you tell our listeners why? Why, of all the things to be complaining about this morning, not complaining, that's a harsh word, but to be talking about this morning, why is the red tape thing sticking out to you?
Well, I'm having discussion every day with SMEs and with larger businesses, and there's one thing that they're all talking about is how heavy it is to innovate, to launch a project, to create jobs, to invest in Quebec and in Montreal. So, of course, yesterday was the federal government economic update, but we, for 1 year we've heard Mr. Carney talked about how he wanted to change the system, how he wants the different ministry and agencies within the government to be more efficient. But we understand it's a big deal, it's a big challenge, but we haven't seen much clear message about that. And the Quebec entrepreneurs are ready to invest, but too many projects are stuck in those administrative processes.
If the government says, hey, but listen, look at all the programs we're building. Look at all the new programs we've created. Build Canada Strong Fund. It's Canada. It's strong. It's a fund. You can use this now for infrastructure. Last hour of the show, we were speaking to the Business Development Bank of Canada, and they have started a $500 million fund that businesses need to apply to get access to funding to switch over to have more AI programs. Government keeps saying, hey, we get so many funds for small businesses. What do you say to that? Aren't they helping?
Yeah, well, actually, you're right. We're not talking about that right now. You're right in saying that there has been so many new programs. In a way, we say a good thing. But in fact, the SMEs are not asking, or even the businesses are not asking for that much program. They are asking to be able to contribute themselves without less breaks and without less, I would say, they are asking to be free, liberate in having projects, innovate. And right now, I'm sure this is not new to your audience. It's very hard right now, especially in Quebec, to start a project. The timing to get a permit, everything related to the fiscal, the rules that any people that wanted to go for. So what they are asking, and because every day we're saying and we're kind of accusing a lot of businesses not to be productive enough. We're talking every day about how better we should be in terms of efficiency within our businesses, and of course within the cities, the Quebec government, the federal government. This is true, and in a way, productivity is the responsibility of everybody, and the businesses are willing to invest to be more productive.
Well, I got to tell you, Madame Dessureault, that's the reason I asked the question, right? Because it seems like you and other business voices, you've been screaming again and again, get out of the way.
Exactly.
Let businesses operate. And the only response from the federal government is, here's a new program. So it seems not only are they not getting rid of red tape, it seems like they're putting in even more.
You're touching really the heart of what we're saying. Getting out of the way. because we're adding, and in a sense, there's a lot of, we're asking collectively as a community to unlock the full potential of what we have already, and to unlock the full potential of this entrepreneurial spirit that we have in Montreal. And people wanted to innovate, wanted to grow, but there's a new generation out there, and they are facing what even, our largest flagship or Quebec success like CJAD or like others, they were not facing that 20 years ago or 30 years ago when they launched their companies. So, yes, some programs, they are important. Right now, there's businesses, with what's happening with United States right now, new rules regarding fees for products that now integrate steel and aluminum, new rules in the last 10 days. We are getting hit, and this is something we should be concerned about, and also to build more housing. This is important as well. But we would have liked to see more initiative yesterday about the commitment of the federal government about red tape.
Reading some of the stuff that you've said yesterday, we need to eliminate duplication, reduce inconsistencies, fundamentally modernize the business environment, alleviate regulatory administrative burdens that hinders business innovation. What do you think the government is waiting for?
Well, we at the Chamber, we have the opportunity to have on stage with us many of those elected, like Mélanie Joly, in the past months. And even I was given the opportunity to interview Mr. Carney last November. We feel that from this government, there's a will. And we see around, someone like Michael Sibia, which is running the entire private council. So bringing a vision of what should go on in every ministry. But we feel that themselves, and of course they are politicians, so they won't admit, because it's not probably as easy as they think, and we understand that it's not easy. But this is the most important issue, chantier national, if I may say, that we should address right now if we want Canada to thrive. Okay, good that the Canadian government is investing in large infrastructure project. We need that, but we feel that they're not doing enough to...
One last thing for you, right? Because, you said that you understand it may not be easy to do some of these things.
Yeah, we understand that.
Okay, so I find that interesting because I look south of the border, and one thing I keep hearing from business people is that, wait a minute, the Americans are making it look easy. They've actually taken a chainsaw to regulation, both federally and in many, but not all, U.S. states. Aren't they making it look easy if there's a will?
Well, I think I can agree with you. And, because I've lived in Florida, I was the chief representative for the Quebec government in Florida and in Southeast USA for 3 years. And, of course, what I've seen is also kind of a spirit that is different. Businesses are being asked, what can we do to help? Here is, hey, we've seen that. You don't have this or this, you do not follow the rule. We need to change the mindset of this entire system. I think that Carney government is on that trajectory right now, but we are waiting for specific KPIs that they should commit on specific improvement that they wanted to do, and that in 6 months, they should be in front of us and say, here's what we've done. And if they cannot make it, let's name what's the problem. If we need to bring more discussion with the unions, if we need to bring, but we need, I think that it's important that voice like ours don't stop to say it every time we have a chance. And thank you for this opportunity this morning.
How much time do we have left? It's been 11 years. We have another year? 5 more years? No, how much time do we have left?
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure, the Quebec economy right now is stagnating. And we saw this morning in La Presse, the GDP show a 0% change. So, okay, government has its role, but I think that they should be more, I would say, confident in how the private sector can change that as well.
You are great. You are great. Yeah. And you're always welcome here. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Isabelle Dessureault is the president of the Montreal Chamber of Commerce.
I'm Luke Wilson. Join me each week for Film Never Lies. Since retiring from the NFL, I've had a lot on my mind, and now I've got my own show. So if you're tired of lazy takes, if you want honest conversations, join us each week. Film Never Lies, available on all TSN platforms and the iHeartRadio app.